In the earthly temple administration in Jerusalem, God's high priest brought the censer full of sacred fire through the temple veil to the mercy seat once a year on the Day of Atonement. That's what they say. The holy censer was used in the God-ordained service which was required for the forgiveness of sin. Yet the Bible details a day when the censer, full of fire, is abandoned and thrown to the earth. Revelation chapter 8, verse 5. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it to the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. There will be a day when heaven's censer will fulfill its function. After the censer is used on the Day of Atonement in heaven, it is thrown to the earth. The atonement for sins is complete and never to be repeated. Revelation chapter 22, verse 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. The fulfilling completion of the Day of Atonement will usher in the final feast, the Feast of Tabernacles. Then I saw Jesus, who had been ministering before the ark containing the 10 Commandments, throw down the censer. He raised his hands and with a loud voice said, "It is done." As Jesus moved out of the most holy place, I heard the tinkling of the bells upon his garment. And as he left, a cloud of darkness covered the inhabitants of the earth. There was then no mediator between guilty man and an offended God. While Jesus had been standing between God and guilty man, a restraint was upon the people. But when he stepped out from between man and the Father, the restraint was removed, and Satan had entire control of the finally impenitent. It was impossible for the plagues to be poured out while Jesus officiated in the sanctuary. But as his work there is finished, and his intercession closes, there is nothing to stay the wrath of God, and it breaks with fury upon the shelterless head of the guilty sinner who has slighted salvation and hated reproof. In that fearful time, after the close of Jesus' mediation, the saints were living in the sight of a holy God without an intercessor. Every case was decided, every jewel numbered. Jesus tarried a moment in the outer apartment of the heavenly sanctuary, and the sins which had been confessed while he was in the most holy place were placed upon Satan, the originator of sin, who must suffer their punishment. Praise Jesus.